Welcome to the Motivation System. In this video, I will share with you the patterns of highly successful people. And we're going to do that by understanding what are the patterns of success. A pattern is like if you flip a coin 5 times in a row and heads comes up 4 of those times. This is a pattern. You don't have to keep flipping it to predict the outcome. So to understand the keys to success and motivation is by finding the people who excel at delivering results in a particular field. The interesting thing is when you ask them, what do you do to get these results? The number one answer is, I don't know, I just do it. Just think about it for yourself. Those things are tasks that you do exceptionally well. If I were to ask you how you did that, you'd probably have the same answer. So the way to find out the pattern that they use and how they get these outstanding results requires observation and questioning. And after some time, a pattern or a recipe emerges, and this can be documented and taught to get the same results. Imagine you come to my house for dinner, and you ask for the recipe for a certain dish. If I give you the ingredients, you cannot replicate it because I did not give you the amounts. And if you had that, you still could not duplicate it because I did not give you the sequence. But if I gave you all 3, if I told you the ingredients and I told you how much and I told you the sequence, then if you followed that recipe, you could get the same results. So what are the patterns that highly successful people use? When I studied them, they have access to the same tools and processes, or in this metaphor, a recipe, the ingredients, as everyone else. But they discovered a recipe for success. And in this video, I will share with you their ingredients. The first area we're going to explore is what we think about ourselves and how others see us. In this survey, C-level executives were asked what were the reasons that C-level executives fell. And then the same questions were asked to human resources, the managers, and the frontline professionals. And the results are very interesting in that they show a huge disconnect in 2 areas. First, when asking C-level executives, are you or was poor communication a factor? No, they said that wasn't it because they view themselves as a great communicator. But notice that everyone else who they communicated with responded by disagreeing with them and said, yes, this was a factor. Now, the other area is with interpersonal skills. And again, the C-level executives view themselves as excellent in working with and understanding people. And once again, all the people they interact with said not so much, and it was a factor. So what about C-level executives who do well? Well, it should come as no surprise to you that in these 2 areas is where they viewed by themselves and the people they work with as being highly effective. Now, I want to caution you that this is just not the case with C-level executives. The same patterns show up at all levels. And this shows up when I coach people because they view themselves as being effective communicators, not just in what they do during the daytime in business, but also in their family system. You see, communication matters. So to really understand the patterns of success, it's just as important to understand the patterns of failure. In building my programs or when I work with an organization or when I'm coaching someone, I really want to understand how they were able to fail without a judgment and be able to do that in an excellent manner. Now, I do that because I really want to understand what the patterns they have been using so that it gives me the information in order to help them. So working with sales professionals specifically, the patterns of failing are inadequate product, service, or knowledge. Failure to focus on what's important, on a top priority. Poor listening skills. They repeatedly are told they're told by their clients that you didn't hear what I said, and they certainly do not get prepared for sales presentations. Most often, they wing it. They're just going to go from the cuff, if you will. and that shows up as a lack of effort, that they really are not attempting to do this job well. And because of this, they have a inability to determine what the customer needs or what the wants are. Next, let's look at what the patterns are of highly successful sales professionals. And these are the top 10% across a number of industries selling products and services at different price points. First, they have a good positive attitude. They have the proper training. Now, in the proper training, by the way, it's not just that their company or their employer is providing this training, that they view them that this is an important aspect of their professional growth, and they go about getting this training on their own. Next, they have good work habits. They understand time management. They understand where to place and focus their importance. They're motivated. They're motivated by themselves. Now, it's nice to be motivated by the boss, but these folks are going to motivate themselves with or without that. And they understand the market, they understand the competition, and they certainly understand their product. And when you talk to them, you just get this feeling, and of course it's documented, that they have this desire to succeed, that they're motivated, that they're dedicated to it, and they have a goal or objective. And they're great identifying customer needs. When you interview their customers said not only they listened, but they understood what my problem was. Now, all of us at some point, in organizations and in life, we're all in one way or another going to perform the function of a project manager, from planning a vacation to planning our business. So in looking at what patterns drive success for a project manager, we looked at what project teams reported, or say what it takes. So in this survey is that they all came up with their number one is that they listened, and they listened to others. They asked questions. And they clarified the roles and expectations. And this was really vital and critical to the success. They were able to talk to the individuals and bring out where they could shine, and then give them an expectation of what they wanted and how it could be measured. They established trust. They recognized individual accomplishments, and that's key, that's critical. People want to be seen and they want to be heard. And they developed teamwork among one another, which means they're not spending a lot of time talking about what someone on the team is not doing. Rather, they're focused on helping their teammates accomplish the task at hand. And clearly, one of the big drivers that the teams reported is that successful project managers had the ability to develop a spirit and motivate others to success. Now, companies are turning to business coaches to work with their executives, and many people are turning to life coaches to achieve really many of the same things. They are discovering behind that hard shell, just like a turtle, that the soft skills are important both in business and in life. So what do they achieve by using a business coach? Well, this is what was reported in a recent survey. They reported that they're getting much better at setting their goals, and that they have a much more balanced life, that they increased their self-confidence, and that they had improved family relationships, and of course they improved their income. But what I want you to pay attention here is that the things that were driving them to their own success, again, is these things that are so-called soft skills. The American Management Association asked thousands of executives what would be necessary to succeed. And specifically, it's talking about the 21st century. It's not just talking about the line staff or the frontline professionals, but it's to do with managers, it's to do with succession planning. What's going to be necessary? What are the skills that are required today and in the future to be successful? And when they developed their 2010 Critical Skills Survey, the findings are they reported that the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic, is quickly being replaced with the 4 C's. And the 4 C's are critical thinking. And why critical thinking is becoming important? Because it's about problem solving. How can you address problems and come up with solutions quickly? Next is collaboration, and we've already seen bits of that. It's going to have the ability, particularly as we deal in a global world, is being able to get people from different backgrounds, whether they're in the office or they're working in mobile locations or they're working in offices throughout the world, is how to collaborate in this critical thinking. Creativity shows up more and more and more. Is that what's going to be required in this technology age, that things are being outdated almost immediately, is that people are going to have to be much more creative because the consumer, the family members are becoming all that much smarter. And of course, communication. Communication is vital. It is the vital link that keeps all of these things together. I remember talking with a CEO who was my client, and I had a consultant that I had placed there. And while he was brilliant technically, his people skills were lacking. And I had made the decision that while his technical results were highly regarded by my client, his people skills had created disruptions. I knew that if I did not pull him off this engagement, I would lose the account. So I was telling my client of my decision, and he said, Rich, you can teach someone the hard skills, the technical skills, but some people just fail at the soft skills, no matter how brilliant they are. And this is so true. To become a top performer, as we have seen, it is vital to learn and master these skills, and it has a bottom line result. If you don't think it does, all you have to do is ask the consultant I pulled off this account. In the last few minutes, I've shown you some of the patterns that get in the way of succeeding and the patterns that drive success. Having the technical skills is important, but without having the skills that are important in working with people, success will not happen. So, what are some of the key takeaways for you? Well, the first is having a positive attitude. Now here, I'm not talking about being naive and just going about life as a happy-go-lucky. It's how you deal with those obstacles that come across every one of our lives. It's a way of looking at a situation differently and looking at a way of making it and going further and avoiding these problems. The next is motivating yourself. There's no question that as we go across on all these various professions, so these top 10% of the population who are highly successful, each and every one of them reports that they motivate themselves. And while it's important to get that from someone else, they clearly know that they want to motivate themselves. And one of the things they excel at is that they're an effective communicator. They're able to transmit their thoughts across to other people and really understand what these people are saying to them. And we saw over and over again that collaboration is going to be vital and key going into the 21st century. We're already there. So this means is how can you get things done effectively through other people? I developed the motivation system to teach people the skills to find the spark in themselves to accelerate their successes. And this begins with understanding what's in it for you. Getting and keeping a positive attitude. Getting, not just setting a goal. It's not good enough just to say this is your goal, but you have to have the steps to actually get the goal. And what's in it for you, meaning your customers, peers, bosses, and family, by using peak performance communication techniques. And finally, what's in it for us? And this means creating a true win-win. So I hope that you've gained some insight into the patterns of success and how you can learn to incorporate these to improve your personal and professional effectiveness. I wish you continued success.